The stare wasn't random. It was recognition. You thought they were just looking. But heaven was revealing. You've walked into rooms and felt the silence bend around you. Their eyes followed, not because of how you looked, but because of what you carry. You weren't being watched, you were being witnessed. Was it attraction, or was it alarm? Were they drawn to your light, or disturbed by your reflection? Is it admiration, or is it spiritual warfare? When heaven marks you, hell studies you, and people sense the difference. Stay until the end, because what you hear today may explain why strangers feel familiar, why you've always stood out without trying, why the room changes when you arrive. Welcome to Chosen One's Prophecy, where the hidden are remembered and the stared at are finally seen. Even Jesus, before speaking a word, shifted the atmosphere. Demons trembled in silence. Crowds gathered before miracles. Luke 4:34. Have you come to destroy us? They asked. Because even the unseen world recognized his presence. The same presence echoes in you. And today, we're unsealing the scroll that explains it. Stay, because the signs that are about to unfold may explain your entire life. The aura that disturbs darkness. You don't speak, yet the room quiets. You don't demand, yet eyes turn. This is not charisma, it is consecration. When God places his hand upon someone, even the unawakened feel it. You carry an unseen mantle, the weight of divine presence, and it presses against every atmosphere you enter. People sense something, but they cannot explain it. That something is spiritual authority, and it disturbs what hides in shadows. Moses came down from the mountain and his face glowed with glory. He didn't try to shine. He simply reflected where he had been. So do you. Your light is not loud, but it is undeniable. It reveals what others would rather keep hidden. It convicts, corrects, and sometimes it even offends. But that offense is not from you. It is from the truth you carry. You weren't noticed, you were revealed. And every time someone stares, it's not at your outfit, your walk, or your posture. It's their soul remembering something their mind forgot. You are the echo of Eden in a fallen world. And echoes disrupt silence. Are you ready to be watched, even when it's uncomfortable? Are you ready to carry what causes the room to shift? Because your visibility was not requested, it was assigned. Obscurity was never protection, it was preparation. You thought the silence was punishment. You begged God for an audience, but he gave you isolation. And now you realize the silence trained you for the stare. Obscurity wasn't God forgetting you. It was God forging you. Far from the applause, far from the spotlight. The furnace of quiet places burns away the need to perform. David wasn't crowned in the crowd. He was anointed in the field. And before Esther stood in the palace, she wept in the hidden quarters. What you called rejection was actually refinement. Heaven hides what hell wants to hijack. And if you've been hidden, it means you were dangerous before you were visible. You weren't passed over, you were covered. Now the covering is lifting, and every stare is heaven saying, "Release the one I've prepared." So why does the attention feel heavy? Because you're no longer being protected. You're being presented. And when heaven presents you, every demon assigned to delay you panics. The glare of firewalkers. You've been through fires no one saw. Tears behind locked doors. Battles with no audience. You weren't just hurt, you were tempered. What people see now is not just your strength, it's your scars, glowing like embers that refuse to die. Your walk carries the wisdom of surviving what was sent to break you. Joseph stood before Pharaoh, but he carried prison in his memory. And that prison gave him perspective. That betrayal built his discernment. That pit refined his prophecy. You weren't broken, you were branded. And those who stare at you, they're staring at what survived, what endured, what healed without applause. You don't look like what you've been through, but you feel like what you've been through. And that feeling, that vibration, is what they can't explain. You've walked through fire, and now your presence smells like freedom. Darkness Confrontation. Why hell watched you first. You were studied before you were celebrated. Hell noticed you before people did. Why? Because your birth was a threat. Your assignment, known in heaven, was sensed in the underworld. So the enemy launched attacks not to destroy you, but to distract you from ever realizing who you are. The warfare didn't begin when you became strong. It started when you were still tender, still unaware, still pure. Look back. The childhood rejection, the betrayal from trusted friends, the relentless shame, the unexplained heaviness. It wasn't random. It was targeted, because hell saw your seed before it ever bore fruit. But here's the prophecy. If hell tried to kill you before you even knew your name, what will happen now that you've awakened? You're not being attacked because you're weak. You're being resisted because you're remembering. And nothing terrifies darkness more than someone who finally remembers who they are. If this resonates, comment 404 as a prophetic sign that you're still listening, still receiving, and still rising. You carry unspoken authority. You don't need a title. You don't need a platform. Your presence is your platform. Jesus didn't shout in synagogues to prove who he was. He walked, and the winds obeyed. He sat, and demons trembled. Authority isn't in your words. It's in your walk. And you, chosen one, have been entrusted with the kind of authority that can't be explained, only felt. That's why people are drawn to you. And that's why some resist you. You carry peace that agitates. You radiate hope that confronts despair. You bring light that exposes counterfeit. Even your silence speaks. This is why some people feel seen in your presence, and others feel undone. Because you're not just a person. You're a confirmation. You were sent with a message. Every stare is a whisper, a pull, a prophetic pause. You were sent, not just born. The glances you receive, they are spiritual nudges, reminding you that you are not living for yourself. You are a vessel, a walking sermon, a living scroll. 2 Corinthians 3:3 says you are a letter from Christ, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God. That means your life is not just being watched, it is being read, and every moment you walk in truth, you are preaching without words. So the next time they stare, ask yourself, what message is heaven sending through me today? The remnant is watching you. You are not the only one. You felt alone, but you were never alone. Scattered across the nations are others, hidden, watching, waiting. And when they see you stand, they remember the scroll written over their life. Your courage is their confirmation. Your presence is their permission. Romans 8:19. Creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. You are the revelation they've been waiting for. The remnant is rising, not with noise, but with knowing. And your visibility is their signal. You are not just being stared at. You are being recognized by those heaven is awakening through you. Your light was meant to echo. Light doesn't apologize, it shines. You don't need to ask for permission to carry glory. You were formed for it. The gaze of others is not always curiosity. Sometimes it's divine echo, bouncing back to you the truth you forgot. Your presence speaks of something eternal, something older than time, something written before you were born. You are not here to be admired. You are here to resonate. Your life is not a performance. It's a prophetic vibration, and it was never meant to stay quiet. So let them stare. Let them wonder. Let them feel the weight of your yes to God. Because every look that lingers is a soul reaching for what you carry. You weren't watched because you were loud. You were watched because you were light. And light never asks for permission. It simply reveals. All along, it wasn't about being seen. It was about being sent. You were never just a person passing through space. You were a sign, a living scroll, a divine interruption in someone else's silence. Those stares you felt? They were heaven's echo through human eyes, reminding you of what you carry and warning the darkness that you remember. Chosen one, you have walked through fire without fanfare. You have endured silence, not because you were forgotten, but because you were forged. And now the gaze of this world confirms what heaven already declared. You have been seen. You have been sealed. You are being sent. This is your commissioning. Comment 777. If this word was a confirmation of what you've quietly carried. Tell us in the comments what stirred you, what was unveiled, what part made your spirit tremble. And if you know this was not coincidence but calling, subscribe and stay aligned with Chosen One's prophecy. This is more than a channel. It is the gathering of a remnant. You are not alone. You are the next echo.